How are you guys? How are you doing? I wish I had a bigger magnifying glass so I could acknowledge everybody when they are so nice to come in here. You guys have got plenty more things to do in life besides hanging with me, I'm sure. Owen, thank you. Tralalero, thank you. I'm here, guys. I love you very much. I have to admit, I'm absolutely swamped with work to do. I booked 5 shows today for this week, which is really good. I really like doing it. Uh, would love to have you on. I say it every night. Would love to have you on. TikTok does not allow me to give you my phone number. Does not allow me to give you my email. Probably does not allow me to give you my website. So the only thing that I am allowed to give you is my name, Mark, M-A-R-C, Isaac, I-S-A-A-C, Potter, P-O-T-T-E-R. Thankfully, hey Willa, Zelly, Hunter, Willa Dean. Thankfully, I'm allowed to at least say my name. Wow, how much freedom is that? I'm pissed off because I'm so swamped with work. I need money and I don't have any. Hi guys, hi Nolan, hi Fresh, hi Josh, hi Mahita, hi Diddy, hi Joel, hi Josh, Nolan, Michael. Thank you, Cammy. God bless you, honey. So, I spent part of the day being angry. I spent part of the day trying to figure out how to give myself permission to make some future videos where I'm just friggin' screaming about life. I'm 74. I've been abused like hell. I was raped when I was younger. I was almost murdered. When I was 2 years old, my step-grandfather, you guys caught me on a really prime night. My step-grandfather, when I was 2, hit me with a baseball bat. My doctors have said over and over, different doctors in different decades, we cannot figure out how or why you are still alive. So that's what I live with every day, and a lot more. That's just the ice cream on the cake, you know. So I'm trying to be a person. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to have an existence. I'm trying to find enough money for food and medicine. I called Amazon yesterday, PillPack, and I said, you know what? Next month, just pause all the meds. I'll do without. I'm right here. I got to go turn this godforsaken fan off. I love these fans, but boy, number one, they're noisy. Number two, I'm cold. I'm always cold for some reason. I don't know why. Oh my God, I love you guys, and I just, I could probably sit here and rant all night, but I'm afraid if I'm known to do 45 minutes only. If I do more, I'm afraid somebody is going to go, oh my God, tomorrow night we got to beg him to do more again. So not going to do that probably, even though I would like to tonight, because I'm really just, I'm doing things, I'm successful. I was taught as a kid, and I don't be surprised if I don't say the same stuff some other night, because it's in my muscles. It's in my blood. It's what I live with every godforsaken day. And yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I'm a Buddhist. Yes, I like Sikhism. But, some days it just gets to you. I got some medical company whose name I would love to give you. who gave me a device I was supposed to have for my heart. Oh, yeah, my doctor, my cardiologist said, this will be covered by, there's Nate B. Jones. I love him. Let me try to invite him in, even though I'm not good. Hi, Nate. I don't know that I have the smarts to get you in, boss. I can't. Forgive me, Nate. I love you, man. I watch you a lot. I just can't. I'm a disabled person. I can't figure out if I push that, why in the hell doesn't it? All right, well, I don't know. I'm not gonna. So this cardiologist, who is good, and I like her, she says, "Oh yeah, I want you to have this device. You're gonna have it for 3 more months, no charge. What's her name is gonna." Nate, I couldn't figure out how to get. Please tell Nate I couldn't figure out how to get him in because I'm a disabled person. Nate's wonderful. I shouldn't say he's more wonderful than any of the rest of you, but he is very smart. All right, so what I'm trying to say is, cardiologist says, yeah, you need this. I'm going to prescribe it. It's going to be free. You know where this is going. So they give me the device. Guy comes out from the company to train me on it because it's a complicated, rather heavy piece of equipment. He says, oh yeah, this is free, no cost. So then the guy comes out a few weeks later because I had a problem and I have these disabilities and I couldn't figure out how to use it. And every time, I got 1,000 things to say. I could talk to you guys for 50 hours right now. Anyway, so then guy says, yeah, it's free. Yeah. So long story made short, I wear it for a Marcelo. If I had the guts, I would take you out right now, dog. I am not putting up with that crap tonight. I really not. I don't have the bandwidth to figure out everything because I'm so upset. When I get really upset, I can't communicate. I can't do things. My hands don't work right. I couldn't push buttons on that TikTok Live and make anything work if my life depended on it, which it probably does. So he comes out again. Oh yeah, it's free. I start wearing the device. It hurts my back. It screws up my back. Do I have money for a chiropractor? Guess what? To fix my back? Hell no. It's been months and months. Does my back still hurt? Every day. Every blankety blank, expletive day. So yeah, so then, praise the Lord, here comes the bill, $684. I called him up. Hey, dude, you said, oh, no, you got to pay. So what I did, and I usually don't fight back at all. I just figure, I'm a Christian, I'm a Buddhist. This is the way it's meant to be. Life in the big city and all that. I'd love to swear like a friggin' sailor on here tonight. I swear to God I would. So a friend of mine, because I do this show, I've done like 700 shows, which I tell you guys every night. I've done 700 shows, probably more like 800 or 900, frankly. But so one of my peeps and homies is somebody from Legal Shield. You've probably never heard of it. I don't care whether you've heard of it or not, but bottom line is you can pay a subscription, like $30, and you get some pretty good, somewhat limited, but pretty good legal help without paying more. It's just like this car thing, where you pay $50 a month and you get your transmission repaired when it goes out and drops on the highway. So, and I had no intention of using a service. It was just more like for a peace of mind, state of mind. So I couldn't even figure out how to use the app, the Legal Shield app. Somebody walked me through it finally. And so now Legal Shield is Parker Stanberry in LA is writing them their first letter, fix this or face the consequences. I don't play like that. I don't, man. I'm shy. I mean, I talk like a lot. I talk all day, but surprisingly to you, people that talk all day are shy inside. They're just covering it up. That's most people. So, I don't know. And I have dementia, so I don't know what I was just saying. Something about something. Anyway, I love you guys more than you'll ever know. I wouldn't make it through life unless I did this every night for a few minutes. I've been working like a dog all day. Letters. I'd like to read you this letter from Parker Stanberry, but I'm probably not allowed to. Our society has so many restrictions. I'm in a group called Alignable, which is a business organization, digital, has about 9 million members. Highly recommend it. I sometimes give them free shows just to say thank you and da da da. And I spend my day calling these people up and asking them to do a free show. So I'm spending my time, my hours, my energy giving away stuff. And I love doing it. I had a wonderful conversation with people. We joke like crazy. We're going to do, like I said, 4 or 5 shows this week. I think they're all free. There might be one where the guy offered to pay something. Anyway, so my dementia's getting worse. When I talk to you and I give you 2 or 3 sentences, then sometimes I have no idea what I just said. Okay, so I apologize for even existing as a human. Probably shouldn't exist. Not that I'm going to do anything about it. I don't want y'all to get freaked. I've been in psychiatric hospitals more time than some of you have been alive already. Every psychiatric hospital in the South Bay, San Francisco area, Good Sam, Samaritan, and Los Gatos, 3, 4, 5 times. Stanford Mental Illness, El Camino Psychiatric. That's a nice hospital. They used to have a nice place called One South. I'm telling you this so those of you that know that I'm telling you the truth. In the old hospital, the psych ward was in the basement, and it was called One South. And then a few years ago, unbeknownst to me, because I hadn't been in that hospital for a while, they built somebody, once in a while rich people get off their greedy asses and do things for people. Some rich person gave them like $200 million to build a new building, a new psychiatric building. So they built this building. It is wonderful. It's big. I like it. I would friggin' live there if I could. I was in there for 3 weeks back in September of some year in the past. And the doctor, who is absolutely wonderful, Dr. I don't remember his name, not Harris. I don't know. Anyway, the head psychiatrist, who has been the head there for decades and decades and decades and decades and decades, treated me like a very special person, very nice man. The best psychiatric hospital I've ever been in, and I've been in most of them. Well, all of them in this area. Anyway, so very good. I highly recommend it if you have any psychiatric needs. To me, it's like having a heart attack. I had a heart attack in 2014. So since then, I've been living with congestive heart failure. Yeah, you didn't know all that, huh? I sit here at night and try to be nice and encourage people in their lives and not talk about anything about myself because I was brought up in a very strange way in Ohio. You're going to hear all this again, like next week or tomorrow or tonight. I'll just start talking again because all this is what I live with in my muscles and bones and toes. And my dad tried to make a place for us to live. Okay? He had nothing. No money, no nothing. Some guy who was a banker, again, once in a while rich people do nice stuff, gave him enough money to buy what was called back in the 40s and 50s a detached garage. So back in the Midwest, they used to make garages for a house, those that could afford it, and the garage was a separate building a few feet back from the house. So he bought one of these old garages with this money this banker man gave him, and he tore it down and built us a house. Okay, the house was a very tiny, smaller than a mobile home. It had concrete floors. We had an outhouse out back, for real. You know, an outhouse gets full, you just dig another hole and move the building. We had kerosene lamps for both light, for light. I think we had a space heater. That's how I grew up. That's how I grew up back in the 50s. Now, did it change? Yes. To get better? Yes. Did my dad work his ass off and make a better life for us as best he could? Yes. Was he a nice guy? Sometimes. Did he beat me? Yes. Was he nice? Not really. Did he talk? No. He was in World War II. I never heard a word about anything ever in his life. No opinion he ever expressed. He never spoke. I mean, he was supposed to say hi, or he would breathe, or that guy on the TV station is nice. He would work his ass off. He got a job. I mean, those of us that have come from poverty dream of getting any decent job that we can get. And thank God, and it's only God that did it. My dad got a decent job. Millions of years later, I got one decent job. So my dad was working odd jobs, driving for Fruhoff, which is a trucking company, long distance across the United States, working part-time in a little mom-and-pop hardware store. And I'm going to say stuff out of order. I'm going to contradict myself. I'm going to say stuff that doesn't make sense. I'm going to interrupt myself to tell you some other shocking junk that I live with. My mother died when I was 2. Long story. Long. Just that piece is long. Some night, if they don't cut me off of here, probably TikTok will send their contract assassins out tonight to take me out. I'm joking, of course, but once the algorithm hears it, oh, this guy, he talks too clearly, too frankly. He doesn't have a... I got news for you guys. I got news. I know how to talk properly. I have been a professional speaker for decades. I was in Toastmasters. I was in 5 Toastmaster clubs. I gave over 500 blankety blank speeches, if you count all the kinds of speeches in Toastmasters. All counters, joke master, keynote. I did over 500. I kept a spreadsheet to prove it, which of course got lost. Potter luck, my sister says. Potter luck. Every time something goes good, 3 seconds later, 500 things go bad. Am I military? No, I really screwed that up. I didn't get drafted. There was a draft when I was eligible, you know, when I was 18. I didn't get drafted. I don't know why. I was a protester, and that's a way story that I probably am not even allowed to tell. Got interviewed by the FBI in Little Rock, Arkansas back in the day. Volunteered for the Black Panther Party in Ohio. I got 100 stories if I got one, and most of them are very long. So been a writer for over 50 years. I've been published. But we were told as kids, my stepmother, who tried to kill my brother and I by throwing us down a very high staircase. People have tried to kill me a lot. Yeah, how's that for a sentence? Where was I? I don't remember. I like pancakes. I'm an absurdist, too, by the way. Now, nobody in America knows what an absurdist is. People in Scandinavia and people in France are more likely to be people who understand a little bit about what absurdism is. I think Soren Kierkegaard had a hand in starting it, and existentialism. Absurdism, because it's a lot about who I am, and it's the better part. So I'll try to tell about the protesting a little bit, but I trained other people how to protest in the Gandhian. Gandhi's thing was called Satyagraha, and that's what Dr. King used. That's what we're using now in the No King Day and the other marches earlier in the year. It's hard to train people. There's some good films out, videos of the people that helped Dr. King protest, of them teaching people how to resist, how to be nonviolent. This is nonviolence. Gandhi was nonviolent. Gandhi taught others how to be nonviolent. That is Satyagraha, or at least that's how I've been taught to pronounce it. So when Dr. King's people were teaching people how to do that, you have to be able to be nonviolent and loving in the face of police dogs ripping your leg off, police batons smashing your head in, or smashing your little sister's head in next to you. It's the word I want to use. Yeah, 2-syllable word with a lot of S's and a W at the end. Maybe you can figure it out. I figure this will probably be my last broadcast. TikTok will come and cut my privates off tonight, probably in my sleep. Anyway, I hold this stuff out, man. I've been in therapy all my life. I've been in therapy every week, with probably some exception somewhere, since I was 19. So that's more than 50 years. I was molested by my therapist. Every one of these headlines is like a once-in-a-lifetime tragedy, and I have bunches of them, dozens. I got piles of them sitting in trash bags. It's no wonder I'm an absurdist. So what is an absurdist? An absurdist is someone who likes literature. Absurdism is in theater. It's in literature. It's a very small part of those arts. It's not very big, but you know what surrealism is. Probably you've heard of some of the painters whose names I can't think of. Surrealism is more common. It bends reality. Surrealism bends reality. So you have a clock that's shaped a little bit wrong in a painting. You got somebody like Magritte or somebody like that was showing a real person in a bowler hat, up in the air with an umbrella. I'm sure you've seen that painting. Yeah, so, but absurdism breaks reality altogether. Just breaks it. And I talk absurdism all day. I make quote unquote sales calls in which I don't make any money, but I tease the people on the phone because I'm giving this stuff away most of the time. What do I have to lose? And some of them really like it, and we get to be friends. So I'll be in the middle of a sentence and I'll say something completely, totally outside of reality, such as, well, the rabbit in my backyard wants to sell life insurance to the octopus, but he found out the octopus doesn't use the correct toothpaste. Okay, none of that's real. Octopuses don't brush their teeth, probably don't even have teeth. Rabbits don't talk to octopuses. Rabbits don't sell life insurance. So that's absurdism, and I can give you some examples. I don't know a lot of examples of absurdism that I think are really genuine because I'm a pretty hardcore absurdist. And I think there's people out there peddling fake absurdism, just like people are peddling bad suits and contaminated cheese and eggs that'll make you sick and everything else. There's a guy, and I'm pretty international, so just because our dear president, in quotes, Taco, just because he doesn't like certain countries doesn't mean that I don't like him, because I think we need to be international. I love Red Note. Anyway, so there's a guy who I really like who lived in the early 1900s. He's Russian. He has a very Russian name. First name is Daniil, Daniil. Last name is Kharms, Kharms. Daniil Kharms. And that's kind of a name he fashioned for himself. Wonderful guy, was just endlessly hounded by the Soviet government before and after whatever that overthrow by Tolstoy and his kids was. You know, there was first Nicholas, and him and his family got killed by the overthrow people and the Bolsheviks. And then the king hounded him, the Tsar. And then when he was done, why the Bolsheviks hounded him. They put him in prison repeatedly. They censored all his work. He wound up having to write children's books just to try to make a living. He went to prison so many times. He died in prison. Just a wonderful guy. And he had a little group of absurdists, which in the United States, the few books you can find with anything about it, I pronounce the word oberate. It's probably pronounced wrong. It's like Obeurity or something. And the only other person whose name I can remember from his group is a very little known poet named George Ivanov. And then the rather famous novelist Nabokov was a tangential member of the Oberate. So, all of that. Good news. I became a Buddhist back in 96. My wife died after a horrible life. Long story. You guys can, well, I don't know that I'll be able to remember any one story to tell you, but I'll tell you as many as I can, as many times as TikTok allows me on here. So, where was I? My wife died. I became a Buddhist. I met a guy. A lot of good things have happened to me too in life. My life's a complete contradiction. pretty much everything that's true about me is also false. I also should say for the record that I have done some absolutely despicable things. I wouldn't say I've done things that are illegal, but I have come so close to the line several times. You know, I'm not talking about protesting and being in jail in Russellville and having the FBI guy drive down from Little Rock and interview me at 12 midnight or 11:55. That was a good conversation. He came in and I was driving to the Nixon. I'm going to tell these stories again someday because I don't know, probably the kids maybe need to hear them. I was hitchhiking across the United States, almost froze to death in McLean, Texas. That's a story I want to tell you. Not that I'll ever remember. Got us, and some guy picked me up finally and was going pretty close to where I was going. I was going to D.C. to protest Nixon's second, let's call it an inauguration, but I had another word I used to use in the past that was more protesty. Coronation, I think is what I called it. Speaking of kings. Anyway, we get pulled over in Arkansas. This cop comes up to the window. Now remember, at this point, and here's another long story, at this point I'm an agnostic, nonviolent revolutionary, like a real one, not just the fake ones that we see pushing Coca-Cola and whatnot. So I might have been driving. I think I was driving because the other guy got tired. But people who are agnostic, nonviolent anarchists, which I was at the time, I promised myself I'd never tell anybody this stuff. I just try to pose as a middle of the road, conservative, not conservative guy that just bumps his way along. But anyway, so I'm an anarchist. I'm driving. I don't know anything about anarchism, but we don't believe in it in governments and stuff. So this cop, your classic, heavy-set, aviator glasses, hat, the whole 9 yards, right out of, what's that word in the movies, you know, right out of the movie set. Walks up to the car. I'm driving. Sir, I need to see your driver's license. I didn't say don't have one. I said something he'd never heard of before. I said, I don't believe in a driver's license. And after he caught his breath and got up off the ground, joking, he said, get out of the car. Long story made short, they seized my backpack of radical literature, threw me in jail in Russellville. But of course, you know, I'd been studying Gandhi for years. So as a nonviolent protesting anarchist, going to jail is good news. So I went to jail. I got one phone call. I called New York. Everybody in New York on the left of the anarchies went nuts and started calling Russellville, the mayor, the chief of police. They were freaked out of their minds over there in Russellville. So they come to me early the next morning. Well, we'd like you to plead guilty and we'll let you go. You won't have any stuff to do. I said, no, homie, don't play that. You put me in here, I'm staying. Oh, no, it's okay. You don't have to pay anything. No, it's all right. You put me in here, I'm staying. And they're like, well, what the blank do we do now, WTF? So then the next night, this, like I say, FBI Little Rock comes in. And you know, there's good people in strange places. This guy was nice. He was a nice guy. He came in. I swear to God, I mean, He could have been just faking it. Maybe it was the way they taught him to interrogate halfway intellectual anarchists. Came and he says, I really want to know what is this thing you guys do? Why are you doing this, and what are you doing, and what's it for? I said, glad to tell you. That's my job, to tell people. I'm an anarchist. I'm a nonviolent anarchist. We protest all over the country. I train others to protest. Organize as many of them as I can. Blah, blah, blah. And he seemed to get it. Maybe he was just faking. Liars, news to you, most liars are good liars. Most people, hi, Amby. Honey, I hope you got a hold of me because you said you were going to. Come on the show. Most people think that they can detect a liar. I got news for you. Most liars, I would say most, you can't figure it out. You don't know you're being lied to. I know corporations. I've worked at big corporations. I've worked for rich people as a nanny. I think that there are liars out there, lots of them, and most of the successful people who are so good at lying, who have nuanced lying so well, you will never know that they lied to you. I used to work at a corporation where one of the biggest employers in their county, their way of doing things, getting rid of people, by that I mean unemploying them, not unliving them. The way they did things, and they taught me, because I worked as a blue collar person at that company, and later I was given the opportunity to try to become a mid-level administrator. Well, better money. My wife of the time, I have been married twice, wanted the better money, so I went for it. They had me as an unofficial printing administrator at that corporation for 7 months. 7 months. And I don't think I got better pay at that time. And after 7 months, they said, no, we don't want you to be the printing administrator. And that never went on my record at all. Didn't help me boost to another position. They just got free printing administrator guy for 7 months. And, in a lot of ways it was an opportunity, but it's the way they did things, I worked at another company that did some printing. Huge company. Here's how they played the game. They would look for, because I was in printing 20, 30 years, they would, and this is real stuff, man. I want to say the word, the word that stands for feces, but I won't. This major corporation would look around town for a new mom and pop print shop that was just starting out. And they would approach them casually and say, well, we've got, when you're new mom and pop anything, and I've been one, you're dying for business. You open your store, nobody comes in. You've been there 3 months, you come in every day. You get very few customers. You're like, oh my God, we're going to lose our house. We're going to lose everything. And then this guy from this huge corporation comes in and says, well, we got a lot of work. We could bring some of that your way. And you're just about ready to get down on your knees and give the guy what he wants the most. And of course you do the work. They bring you work. They bring you lots of work. You can't even believe you got the work. They bring you the work. You do the work. You do it better. You do it at a better price. You get it to them fast. They're happy. And then guess what? They do that with you for 3 or more months, get all the printing they need, and they never pay the bill. And they know that since you're a small mom and pop company, that you're going out of business and that you don't have the money to fight back. So they get free printing for 3 or 4 months. Free printing. And they never pay the bill. And guess what? While you're going into your last 3 or 4 months of helping them, they're out looking for the next mom and pop print shop to do the same blank, 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 blank expletive thing to somebody else. You think other companies don't do that same thing? As much as you might hate Biden, the things he said about shrinkflation, most companies are doing 2 things simultaneously. Raising their price a lot, because I try to buy food every month. There's a rumor that I like to eat, and I try to buy food almost every year, you know? You know the joke? Like I tell people, I take a shower once every 40 years, whether I need it or not, doesn't matter. So yeah, these sons of bitches, they reduce the size of the food, everything from candy bars to I don't know what the hell. I notice it, you know. Things will go, the things that, well, I'll give you some examples. My opinion, because I don't want the lawsuit to hit my desk here in 3 minutes. Some guy from Australia, Black Ops, walks through the wall on behalf of some big major corporation to give me a... anyway, so they do several things at once. They, you know, like one of the big companies, I won't say which one now, that makes an energy drink, used to be 32 or 30 ounces in their energy drink. Guess what? Now it's 28 ounces. Milk, half a gallon of milk, used to be a certain shape. The bottle used to be a certain shape. Now if you look at it, it's shaped like this, so it has dents, so there's less milk. Candy bars. If you bought a candy bar back in the, 40s, and you could travel through time and buy that quote-unquote same candy bar today, it's been shrunk every 10, 15 years, and the price goes up all the time. People can't afford to eat. People can't afford their medicine. People can't afford to live. Do you know how many homeless people there are in America? Guess how many homeless people there are in China? Yeah, okay. I saw a chart. I'm just ranting. I'm going to rant probably until hell freezes over. I saw a chart. TikTok is great for stuff like this. I saw a chart that showed different countries of the world and how many people in that country owed medical debt. And it was either how many people owe medical debt, or it was expressed as the total amount of money in medical debt that people in that country owe, or something like that, okay? It's a chart. So the chart has a list of maybe 15, 20 countries of the world. China, I can't make them up, but China, Brazil, Botswana, Canada, who knows what. And it's a long list. Beside every name is zero. It's either 0 people have medical debt, or it's 0 people lose their house, or whatever the hell the thing was. At the bottom of this list is the United States. And the figure for the United States was $625,000, which is like what the average person who dies in debt, or whatever the hell. You get the idea. I'm sure somebody here on TikTok can repost that, since I'm mentioning it anonymously. It's just, there's a reason some smart people are left-wing, These, and don't even get me started about there's a woman running for Congress in Arizona who is wonderful. Deja Fox. She's a young lady. I think she's 25, and I didn't even know you could run when you were 25. She's voicing, she's here on TikTok doing it every day. Listen to everything she says. To me, she's the new AOC. She says, we got all these Democrats, these mid-level Democrats, and these other senators that are been in Congress for 4,200,000 trillion billion years that spend their time trying to figure out what legislation tells them about what stock so they can get the illegal insider trading information so they can go buy the stock and get richer. There's a reason people who come into Congress with, an income of 100,000 a year leave with an income of 500 million trillion billion zillion dollars. And it's illegal. It's not illegal. They can do it all they want. The rest of us are not allowed to do that. I couldn't spell stock market if you gave me a whole meatloaf to eat. So, that's my time, but it's gonna cost me something, but I might stay for a while tonight. I've got work coming out my derriere, but I'm gonna voice some of the things I get done. I want to find a VA if I can afford it. I know a couple people that are really good. There's a gal up in Minnesota or Wisconsin, I get them mixed up, who is really good. She charges $90 an hour, and most of the VA stands for virtual assistant. Most of the VAs that I know want you to give a certain amount of money up front, then and that money is valid for 1 year, and then you get to use against it, So, someone like Shemaine, I think she's one of the very few that let us pay like 1 hour, but there's a gal in Arkansas or Cuba or the dark side of Mars that charges like $25 an hour, but you have to give her like $700 up front, So, yeah, like I went to McDonald's and got $700 just because they love me. So, yeah, I'm trying to run a business without the right equipment. I've got a computer here that I jokingly tell people is gas operated because it was built in the 30s. It's so slow that I can click a button to do something and then go to the bathroom and take a shower and come back 6 months later and it's almost to the next click. So I don't know. I'm just tired. I don't know what tomorrow will be like. Maybe the mental illness stuff. I've got 6 pieces of my diagnosis. I can never remember all of them, but let me give you some of them that I can remember. Bipolar, which means I'm manic part of the time, like now. I'm severely depressed part of the time. So bad that I can barely get out of bed. So if I miss some night, Clinical depression, that probably is self-explanatory. Disassociation, which means, because, I told you I was raped. Someone tried to murder me. Stepmother threw me down the stairs. Step-grandfather hit me with a baseball bat when I was 2. I mentioned all this stuff. And lots of others, most of which I can't even remember. What was the point? The point was something about that. The effect it has, or I don't know. Oh, Jesus. What the hell was I talking about? That's embarrassing to have dementia and not know what you're talking about. And then trying to run a business on top of it. 1 week I booked like 11 shows and I forgot to throw up for 3. Yeah. Show up for 3. So, Anyway, I love you guys. I want you to come on the show. I ask you every night. It's not a joke. You know, Mark Isaac Potter just, I test it. I go on the internet. From my computer, I can find myself very fast. Maybe that's because my computer already knows it, but I hope somebody go library and try it from one of their neutral computers. Somebody, I haven't heard anybody ask me questions. Maybe I'll comment. This to me is yellow. I love yellow. I love bright colors. It's one of the few things that puts me happy. So I wear them a lot. I love you guys dearly. Oh, my favorite Bible passage. I like sharing this because I'm a Christian, but I'm a left-wing Christian. I'm a Buddhist, seriously practicing Buddhist. I used to teach Buddhism, even though when I did it, I was doing it as a rogue teacher. I knew a famous man who became a very big spiritual leader, not Eckhart Tolle, but another man named Adyashanti. And some of you out there have heard of him. He's a wonderful guy. I got to know him when he was just starting out and had his original birth name or death name or whatever you say. And the very, very beginning of his learning to be that person and teaching his teachings, in the very beginning, I was able to contribute a little bit to what he did. Very quickly, within just months, and he taught for 20, 30 years. Very quickly, within just a few months, he was a young guy. I mean, I would have been 46 when I met him, and he was probably early 30s. Within just a few months, he eclipsed anything I ever knew. He had a way of learning, of leveraging things, of growing a business, and still being a really solid Zen teacher. Now, he did not call himself a Zen teacher. He felt that he brought something to the world. And I heard him say this once, that was beyond Zen. To me, that sounds a little arrogant, but, he was smart. He did that. He had some Zen training, but most of it just came from his guts. When he was 12, Adyashanti, with the stories I've heard, when he was 12 years old, he made a little room out of a cardboard box in the backyard and went out and meditated without knowing what meditation was, without, make a joke, without knowing how to spell the word Zen, etc. I have a persistent cough. Oh, I forgot to do all the psychiatrics. To see bipolar, dissociation, clinical depression, PTSD, big surprise, general anxiety disorder, and there's at least one or two others that I forgot. Physical ailments, I've got arthritis, congestive heart failure, heart attack, feet, diabetic, you name it. I don't have everything. I haven't had cancer. My poor sister had cancer 4 times. She's very anonymous, so I won't say anything about her, what state she lives in or whether she exists. All right, I'm getting tired, you guys, and I've got what feels like hundreds of thousands of things to do. It's probably not that many, but I've got lists. I've got lists of lists. I got people to get back to. I love you all very much. May God bless you mightily. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. It's your own thing. Do your own thing. Whatever. I was agnostic for a while. All right, so just take care, okay? Hayes says he donated $400. thank you if you really did that. The last time somebody said something like that on the thing here, I never could find it. I go into the YouTube thingy, the back door or dashboard or whatever, once every few days, not every day, because it would just be depressing. And I look to see if anything's really been donated, and I've never, I think the last time I looked after 2 or 3 weeks, I had been given $2.10, so the next time Burger King has a sale, I'll try to go buy a third of a burger. Anyway, I love you guys very much. I will help you no matter what, pretty much no matter what. I've helped hundreds and thousands of people, well, hundreds at the very least. I've been a volunteer all my life at churches. I like being the dishwashing guy at churches. I volunteer all the time everywhere I can think of. Hi, Jules. Sorry I haven't said hi to more people tonight, Camila. But like I say, my TV station over in Mountain View, the way that's structured, and I'm going to probably tell you this, and we can expand on any of this later. You guys are going to have to, well, you don't have to, but remind me what things you want to hear tomorrow night, if any. The kind of TV station I've been at all these years is called Community Access. Okay, Community Access TV station is looked upon by the rest of the TV world as a hobby, black sheep, not a real TV station, like that. There are 700 of these types of stations in the United States. Years ago, when the computer just started, there was a list on the computer. It's gone now, but there was a list. 700 places. They got started by an act of Congress back in the 70s or 80s because people like Ted Turner and others wanted to use the airwaves to start their new news channels. Because you kids may not remember this, but at once upon a time, a television set was a gigantic thing that sat on the floor of your living room, and it had a dial on it. And the dial had like 4 or 5 things you could click: ABC, NBC, CBS, and something else, UF or UVF. And that was it. And you couldn't tape it. If you wanted to watch a show, you had to show up at the time it aired. If they had a commercial, you could go to the bathroom, but you couldn't just put it on pause and then make your lunch and come back and watch it. Homie, don't play that. So years later, Ted Turner and other people said, well, there's these airwaves. We want to start new channels that can run through the airwaves instead of on cables. So they went to Congress, said, we'd like to do this. Congress said, great, fun, good, and we want you to help finance these public type stations, because at one time Congress was a real place. It wasn't just a wallpaper for a, dare I say, dictator. I want to say a lot of other words, but I won't. Taco. So yeah, so they said, yeah, do that, and we're